Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Welcome,
everybody.
welcome to this webinar. I'm delighted to see that so many to join us for this webinar. So before we start, we just check together if everything is working. So just write on the chat if you heard us well, if you see us, and if you see my screen. Great. It seems that's working. Perfect. So let's start. So as you can see, for this webinar, we will speak together about SAFe and how we can implement SAFe with Tulip. Okay, so first of all, we won't do a lesson or learning about SAFe. It's not this. It's we will speak all together about what is the square agility in general and how we can implement it with SAFe and with our tool Tulip. Okay, so let's start, and we will start to introduce ourselves and to explain you what we are doing. Okay, so I let Manon that will speak with me and show this webinar with me introduce herself, and I will introduce myself after.
Okay, thank you very much, Sébastien. So I am Manon Midi. I'm working for an elite company and in the Tulip team for 10 years. And Sébastien delightfully invited me to share my experience regarding scaling Agile and how our customer use and can use Tulip to make easy for teams to deploy SAFe. So for years, I'm totally swimming within agile tools. So I know the issue, difficulties, and how to solve the issue regarding Scrum, Kanban approaches, as well as SAFe, Scrum, etc.
Thank you, Manon. And so for me, I'm Sebastian. I'm working with Manon in Enalin and business engineer and pre-sale consultant. So what does that mean? That means I will, in the first time, I will work with you to understand your need and to see how we can what is the best solution with Tulip to get your several challenge. And after, we'll install Tulip on your environment, and I will help you to use it to start with it. Okay, so I work in several kind of project by the past, so that's why I know how is could be the difficulty with the project organization and project management. Okay, so let's start now. And so let's speak about the agenda. So in first step, we will speak about why scale agile is it's really important now for all the market and for the several challenges that are in our environment. We'll speak after about the four step to success in scaled agile. Okay, how you can organize and what you should put to be sure that you will be compliant and you will be able to get your objective. After, we'll speak about the workspace that we can create with SAFe Essential. So we'll do a focus on SAFe Essential and explain you with how several workspace we can organize it. And we will finish with a demo with Tulip. Okay, so we'll start with Agile Release Train, and we'll show you how we can coordinate some several Scrum team. Okay, so I let Manu explain you what is the scale agile at the challenge.
So, why currently so many companies and large organizations are faced with the challenge of scaling agile? So we can notice two big states. The first one is that products are becoming bigger and bigger. Technological product becoming more complex with hardware and software part inside. So this complex product need even more coordination and synchronization. Of course, in industrialized industry, avionics, automotive, high-tech technology, as many of our customers, but more largely in all organizations, including public organizations that are developing application and information system more complex. So, as they becoming more larger, they involve more and more teams and they have to be synchronized. This is the first explanation. And the second one is that we arrive at a time where agile at team level reach a really big level. And now that this agility is already in place and prove all the success and how it works really good, increasing productivity and increasing culture spirit and very good team spirit within the company. It's now the time to deploy all these good practices at enterprise level. So will all these benefits will uh, help all the company at the global level to faster time to market, to increase the final quality of the products, and of course the final competition of the company. So, with a better alignment between business, IT teams, and development teams, as we mentioned, it will be easier to manage the fast changing market needs and to accelerate software delivery. So, if you are here, it's because you have understood that. So, the question is now how we are going to do this well. We can summarize the transformation in 4 steps. The first one is the culture. The culture has to be evolved, it has to change at all level, at teams level, but as well at top management level, because it's when everyone is okay, agree, and understood why the transformation will be is needed, that a successful transformation can do. Without the involvement and the engagement of all the parties, stakeholders, it will be more difficult to be really efficient. The second part is that you have to step by step include more and more people and more profiles. So within one single team, you will have developers next to quality manager, next to salespeople, and they better collaborate, better exchange information, and share their point of view and challenge, and share their product vision. It's when they collaborate, when they work together, that the product quality involve. So we have to provide these teams with the tools to be under one roof. Most of the time, this is a difficult part, both for organizational reason as well as tooling reasons, because each people, according to his job, needs different tools. So the IT department has to be care to provide all the tools for each of the daily work of this type of people. The third step is to share the vision. As you know, this is a very important part to share the product vision, to really understand where the product is going. And when we do understand where we are going, we can imagine and create better things. So this is very important to align teams. As you can see here in the small picture, there are different color teams, but all together have the same vision of the final product that will be delivered to the customers. And the fourth part is one, I would say, is the first most important challenges, because the state of Agile report mentions that inconsistent processes and tools is the first barriers in scaling Agile. As you can imagine, if people work totally differently and are not synchronized, if everybody has his own tool, his own processes with no synchronization, building a common product is very difficult. So keep in mind that this is in 45% of the company have this problem. So we are going to solve and to help this deploying Tulip. We will stop here about the introduction of scaling Agile. I encourage you to get this ebook. We wrote an ebook with 4 Agile coach that share their experiences and a good idea to help you implement transformation culture and to get started. So if you want to get the ebook, just type scale in the chat and I will send you just after this webinar.
Thank you. So I take the lead now to explain you about SAFe. So we're going to do the focus of SAFe. So SAFe, it's kind of methodologies that you can apply to manage your Scale Agility program and project. So how SAFe is organized? It will be organized around 5 topics. The first one is the direction. What does that mean? That means when you create a release train, you have to create it with a direction where you want to go, and you will have all the people that will be able to take the right decision in the right moment. The second one is the alignment. So Manon just explained you how it's important that the several teams have to be linked to the program and to be aligned. Align, that means the team know what they have to do and what are their several tasks or user story or and when this task and user story have to be done in which program. So transparency, that means you will be able to share all the data that you will manage during the program. The quality, that means we keep all the agile organization. So that means we have to define some step where we'll be able to be sure that we are compliant with the qualities that we have to match, and that's very important because you take a direction with your program, and you have to be sure that you are in the right way, and if you have to modify it. And the last one, this is one of the most important too. This is the program execution. What does that mean? That means when you define your program, so your release train, that means it's important to be sure that everything will be done. Okay, so that's why all the organization are created to be sure that the program will be executed. During this presentation, we will speak only about SAFe Essential. Okay, So SAFe Essential, this is the organization that will apply to manage some release train, so Agile Release Train with several teams. So what will be the organization of SAFe Essential? As Manon explained you, we need to have an organization with several levels. The first one, this is the program level. So here it will be the level where we will put all our release train. Okay, so this release train will be organized around three topics. The first one, this is all the items that you will manage during this program. So there is some features. Okay, the features this is what you have to do and where and what we will plan. After you have the milestone. So the milestone, this is the program increment. And inside this program increment, you will have some several iteration. So that means the feature will be planned in a program increment. And you have several roles that will be sure with them that your program will be executed and that you will have the direction of it. So there's a product, the business owner that will define all the needs, the release train engineer that will organize the several ceremonies that have to be done during the SAFe Essential program, and after the project management and all the architecture system. Okay, this is for the program level. Now we go on the team level. So the team level is quite similar than the team that we are used to do with the Scrum team, for example. We find the managed items that are user story, task. There is a team enabler that will be connected to the program enabler. And that it's important to understand is all the team are aligned to the program. So that means the user story are linked to a feature. In the same way, the milestone are managed by the program. So that means all the program increments that are created in the Agile Release Train will be created in each team. And after there is an iteration or sprint that will be organized as the team wants. So we find the same rules that we can have in each kind of Scrum team. So what does that mean here? That means you have the team are aligned on the program, but each team are autonomous in their organization. So to do this, it's important to have this this organization with this tool. So our tool with Tuleap, you will have all the several features in one solution. Okay, so that's why we will use all the features about the project management that we can see here. And with it, we'll be able to manage all this release train in one tool, and everyone will work here. So that means we have a traceability from the beginning to the end in the several level. So Manon, you have your microphone off.
Sorry. So we will just draw down how project workspace in Tuleap will be organized to get teams in sync. So you will have a program workspace. A workspace is like a project, including some people and some tools. A program workspace is for managing Agile Release Train. And you have like children workspace for different teams, team A, team B, team C, for example. You can have so many teams as you want synchronized with the program workspace. And with Tuleap, you can find a good balance between consistent processes with normalization and ready-to-use template and customized workspace with for the teams. As we mentioned, it's important to organize the workflow, but it's very important to give autonomy to the teams to organize as they want. So for the program workspace, we will use we suggest to use the Tulip tools. A Tulip Kanban, a Tulip program, the Tulip reports, Tulip trackers, and documents. So we will use parts of these tools aggregated in the program workspace. And then for the teams level, you have, of course, agile tools in addition to the software development chain with Git, Jenkins, and so on. So now, Sebastian will show you the articulation between all these workspace, simulating a classical workflow with a feature.
Yeah, so we will be organized. So when I will show you during the demo, we create some two workspace as explained Manon. So the first one, this is the workspace with the program level. So as you can see here on the program level, there is the Agile Release Train that will be implemented here on a tool that the name is the roadmap. I will show you this during the demo. And here you can see the several teams that are aggregated to this Agile Release Train. And we have another tool. This is a Kanban where you will find all the program features that you can manage and modify the several status of them. In the same way, you have exactly the same, but for the team. Okay, so this is a workspace that I will show you. On the team, you have the project management tool where you find your backlog here with the several user story and the milestone. So the team planning, you find here the several iteration and the program increments that are created in the program. So here you have the team dashboard where you find the program increment and the several iterations that are done inside this team. So I will explain you the story that we will do during the demo. We'll start with features. Okay, so these features in the program command, so you can find here the two level, the program level where there is these features. This feature is in analysis status. So that means we create here some user story for each team. Okay, so we imagine that for this feature, there is two user story for the team A and two user story for the team B. Each team will work on their user story. Okay, the user story are ready. So now we can say my feature is ready to be planned. So what we can see here, now the feature is ready to be planned. So it's appear on the program backlog and the user story are ready. So they appear on the team backlog. And during the program increment planning, we will define how we will organize the several features that we plan. And we decide to say, okay, the feature Z will be done in the program increment 1. Okay, so we take it, we put it in the program increment 1, and so to be sure that all the teams are aligned and synchronized, the user story are automatically put inside each program increment. So now the team knows that they have to do their user story during this program increment for the story A, B, and C, D. And now they can organize as they want to put them in each iteration. So now my feature is scheduled. The team organize their user story in each iteration. Okay, so now each team are ready to work. They will work on each user story, and we can say now this feature is work in progress. Okay, so we are waiting that all the team are finished their several user story, and after they will be able to test them and to say to the program that's okay for me. And at the end, when all the user story are done, the feature could be done. Okay, so let's show you now how it works. So we will do exactly the same scenario that I just show you. So just to see you about the color, when it's green, this is a program, and the two teams are pink and blue. So here you can find this is Tulip. So for people that doesn't know Tulip, when we connect to Tulip, each user has their own page. Okay, this personal page you can customize it as you want, and you can add some several widgets where you will be able to display all the information from the project and the workspace where you are working on it. Okay, so the one that I will take is this one, autonomous car. We imagine that this is a program and to define all the software inside an autonomous car. Okay, so now I change and I go on the frame about a workspace. So this is my program workspace. So as we can see here, this is our Agile Release Train. And here there is 4 teams that are aggregated to this project, to this program. We find here the several features. So there is 3 features that are ongoing and work in progress. Okay, so let's do the focus on the first one, where there is, you can see here, several user stories that already planned and are ongoing by each team. And they are connected to this feature. So with this tool, we're able to see in one widget all the several features that are planned and what is the percent of realization of them. Okay, you can see the close one and the several links between them. So what we are doing now, it's to work on this feature. So we can see here, this is a Kanban where there is several program features. And I see this feature doesn't appear on the roadmap because this feature is not planned anyway. So I go inside, and when I go in the detail of this feature, I will have some several information. As you can see here, there is several children. Okay, so 2 user story. And this user story, if I go in the detail, I can see there is one user story in the team Autopilot and another user story in the team UK. Okay, so when I go here, I see that this feature need to add another user story to be complete for the team Autopilot. So let's go on the team Autopilot here. So I change, and as you can see here, I go in other workspace. Okay, so this is a blue workspace where there is a team Autopilot. On this team, they will create a new user story, and on this new user story, we'll add the information that were right, and so you will fill all the several data that you need. So each field that you can see here, you can customize them as you want. Okay, and when it's done, I link it to these features. As you can see here, this is the pedestrian detection. I save it. Okay, so as you can see, my user story just add on this Kanban and is in the statue of analysis. So right now, if I go back to my program, I see that this feature has 3 user story. One, it's ready, okay, for the team UK, and the other one from the team Autopilot are not ready. So I can't change the status of these features because I still have 2 user stories that are on work, on definition on each team. Okay, so let's continue to work on the team Autopilot. And now we imagine that that's okay for them. The user story are ready to be planned. So now this user story, the definition is it's done. So as you can see on this tool, this is the tool that we will use to manage our project. I can see on the backlog the 2 user stories that I just said, okay, I'm ready for this. In the same way, I go on the team UK. The team UK already have their user stories that are ready. So when I go on the Agile dashboard here, to go on the backlog, I see this user story, it's ready. Okay, and link to the features of this Agile Release Train. Okay, so when I did it, that means now from my program, so I go back to my program, and I can say, that's okay for me. This feature is ready to be planned. So I put it onto plan. Now, when I put it onto plan, it won't appear anymore here because it's not in a one program increment. So I go on my program tool management. And in the same way, I can see here what have to be planned. I find here my features and the 3 user story that are planned in the other team. And now I decide in which program increment I will put uh, this feature. So I take this feature and I slide it to put it in this program increment. Okay, so what happened for my team? If I go back to my team, for the team autopilot, the 2 user stories that have to be planned are not anymore in the backlog, and they are stored here in the program increment 1. Okay, so that means now this team knows that they have to do this 2 user story during this program increment, and they will organize it. So they go inside. I can find that this team will work on these 2 iterations here and say, okay, I take this one, I put in this iteration, and I take the new one that we create together, and I put in the iteration 3. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same way for my team UK. The team UK, when I update it and I go to my Agile dashboard here, I see that the user story is planned in the program increment 1. It's here. It's yet the leader option. Same, I go in my planning and I decide in which kind of program increment I can put this user story. Imagine this is the 3. Okay, so right now the user story are defined and planned in program increment and iteration. When I go back to my program, everything is done here. I can have the overview with a roadmap. On the roadmap, you see here, this feature appear inside this program increment. And when I go into detail, I see my 3 user story and I can see in which kind of iteration this user story are planned. And now I just have to follow the progress of each them. Okay, so I go back to my team autopilot, the blue one. I'm here and I continue to work on it. So I go in another tool. This other tool, this is the taskboard. So I go on the taskboard on the program increment. It will be easier, but you can do exactly the same for each iteration. But to keep time, I stay on the program increment. And here you can find the several user stories that are inside this program increment. So you have like a Kanban with a several backlog item. And here you can after add some other data. So for example, here the backup sensor tool, you have a task. Okay, so you reorganize it because now this user story is managed by this task. You assign this task to someone. Okay, and after you move this task to say, okay, it's ongoing, it's done. Okay, so you can say this user story, now it's done. There is no more to do. And you do exactly the same for all the other one. When I update this user story, automatically we will have on my program. So I go back on my program, and when I update it, I will see on my roadmap that one of the user story will be done. So that's why here you see the progress was updated, because one of them are done. Okay, so if I see it, I see this user story done. And you will do each time for each user story for each team. We imagine that everything is done, and now you go to the test management tool. So the test management tool, this is one of the tools and the features that you really have with Tuleap Enterprise. And as you can see here on the program increment, we load automatically the several product backlogs that were planned inside this feature, this milestone. And inside we can create some tests. Okay, so we see it that there is already 2 tests that were done for this user story. For this user story train email, we already have a test, and I will add another one to validate the backup sensor tool. Okay. Okay, so I write here the several test definition. Okay, you can add step if you want. It could be an automatical test if you want, and you submit it. So now it's okay for me. I have several tests, and each user story at least have one test. I can launch my campaign. Okay, so this campaign will be for this program increment. So imagine this is close to the end, and we have to prove to the program that all the user stories that we have done in this team are compliant with the criteria that were defined. Okay, so campaign, and we said number 2. Okay, so what happened here? We load all the test definition. So I have 10 test definition that were loaded, and now I can go on the tool, on the test management tool, and with this, I'm able to manage my several tests. Okay, so this is an execution of test. I have the several step, and I can say that's okay for me. This one is work, this one is work too, and everything will be done. Okay, so we imagine this one doesn't work at all. The one that I create, I just create here um, something that doesn't work, and after I have the overview of my campaign, and I see, okay, there is something wrong here. Okay, so with this, you're able to after generate a report and say that's okay for me, and we can say everything is done. So we imagine that it will be done. We create the bug, it's fixed. Okay, I go back to my test, and that's okay for me. And now, when everything is done, we can say to my team, to my program, everything it's ready for this program increment. Okay, so when I go back to the taskboard and you update it, and that's ready for them. So when you go back to your program, you have all the data. And for example, you want to see exactly what was done for this feature that it's finished, you can go here, and here you will have all the information that you need. Okay, you know that it's linked to this feature, the test case that were done. and what is the cover, what is the several tasks that are done, and you can go very deep because you can go to the commit, for example, that were done for this. Okay, and now I can say that's okay for me. This feature is ready. I go back to my program. Okay, it's work in progress, and after you can say it's ready and you can put it on done. Okay, so um, do you have any question? I propose to keep the several few minutes that are still here to speak together and to answer to your question. So I think that Manon already give you some answer during the demo. So if there are other ways that you want to ask, don't hesitate. This demo, I want, I can't show you everything that Tulip can do because it will be too long. So that's why if there is something you want to do and investigate deeper with me, don't hesitate to write it on the chat. You write demo, and we will organize the demo with you.
Are there any questions? If not, we would be very interesting to get your feedback on this webinar. So could you answer very quickly this survey? This is a 1-minute survey and it helps us improve to know what's good from your point of view and what could be improved. So we just take time to answer this webinar.
Jody, for your question, does it help with any governance model? Yes, we can organize, with Tulip, it's very customizable. So that's why you can organize the several trackers that you create inside Tulip as you want. And for example, for the airspace, you can create some requirements, specific requirements that are reference requirements. And after you can share them to be sure that all the features that you are planned in each in each program increment, for example, or something like this, are linked to one of these requirements.
Ellie,
Yeah.
yes, thank you very much for sharing the survey
Yeah,
link
thank you.
directly in the chat. This is a very good idea.
About DARs, that will depend of what you will do with this requirement. DAR, it's focus on only the requirement. So that's why when you have several versioning on something like this, we have to speak together about this to see what could be done with Tulip and how you can manage it with a specific configuration of your workspace. Yes, you can add a project. So I think your question, Mohammed, is when you already have a release train, you want to add a project, you could do it. Yeah. So there is no problem when you are. So I'm going to show you. When you are here, you see on your program management, you have this administration tool, and the administration tool. With this tool, you will be able to add how many team you want. Okay, so this is team where you have some access, and you can add them. Just you have to be sure that the, the program increment and the milestone are be able to be synchronized between them. So is there other question? I hope that answer to your question, Mohammed.
I think, Jody, to go ahead in compliance and all traceability challenges, you would you should get in touch directly with Sebastian, because I
Mhm.
think of additional webinars focused on traceability all over the project that could be very valuable for you. So I will send you the use case we mentioned, and I think you should come back to Sebastian.
So I will give you my email in the chat. Don't hesitate to reach me if you want to have some more information. If you want to plan a specific meeting and to speak together about this. Give you this.
So thank you everybody for joining today. As mentioned, every attendees will be able to replay this webinar. We will send you direct email to access the replay, so you can use it and share with your colleagues. So thank you very much, and come back to you if you come back to us if you want to go ahead for a deeper demo or more information. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a good day for American people and good evening for European people. Goodbye.